What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost, and we're here for AEW Rampage and Smackdown review for February the 4th, 2022. We are on our way to WrestleMania, as well as on our way to Revolution for both these shows. SmackDown, outside of Roman Reigns, fucking sucked, as usual. Rampage was a pretty good show, and things for Revolution feel like we're heading in a certain direction in certain things. Of course, we start off with AEW, as usual, because it's the more interesting show. It is, of course, the fastest hour of professional wrestling, as they like to tell you. Sammy Guevara defended the TNT Championship against Isaiah Cassidy. Jay Lethal challenged for the Ricky Starks for the FTW Championship. Thunder Rosa took on Mercedes Martinez. Ended in DQ. Don't give a shit. Adam Cole took on Evil Uno. Now, Tony Khan tweeted earlier he was planning on dropping some newsworthy info. We never got that. Apparently, there's going to be a major announcement, though. I guess that's the closest thing we can come to, is that there's going to be a major announcement on Wednesday night for AEW. What that is, I don't even know. So, Adam Cole versus Evil Uno is the very first match. No entrance for Evil Uno. That happens, though. Adam Cole is in a mood. This dude is like, him losing to Orange Cassidy in that match, in the unsanctioned match, which means it does not count against his record. It's as if it did not happen. This dude's like, I am done. They needed something for Adam Cole to say, you know what? Fuck the fun and games. I am done. I'm coming out here and I'm gonna beat the living shit out of everybody until I get what I want. And we all know what he wants. Anybody who doesn't see what that is, I don't know what to tell you. But everyone knows what he wants, and that, of course, is the AEW Championship. So, basically, Mr. Uno had no shot in this match. Big boot in the face, first off, as soon as the bell rings, and Evil Uno is getting beat the fuck out of. Cole fires back, eats a boot from Uno. Uno climbs to the top rope and hits a senton with the knees on Cole. Cole hits the high kick to take down Uno, pulls Uno up to his knees, hits the super kick, delivers the boom. 1, 2, 3. Adam Cole pretty much swashes Evil Uno. After the match, he gets the mic and he mentions everyone he has beaten, from Frankie Kazarian to Jungle Boy to Orange Cassidy, other guys in between this. And he says he is still undefeated. They are all part of this train of his undefeated run. He's still undefeated because his loss with Orange Cassidy did not count. He says he wants some respect. Cole says he is one of the best pro wrestlers on the planet. Has won championships everywhere he's gone. Everywhere he's gone, he's become the guy. It doesn't matter. He always is the one and only guy. And you could just tell that this guy, he came in the AEW, he's like, oh yeah, there's my friends, the Young Bucks, there's Kenny Omega. Oh, here comes the other guys too, Red Dragon. They're all my good buds, we're going to come out here, we're going to have a good old time. And then he just got annoyed with Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy, of course, beat him in the match. And Adam Cole is like, I am done with this shit. No more fun and games. I will be AEW champion. Now, there's a lot of talk, and I've seen some other podcasters say that the match at Revolution should be MJF versus Adam Page. No. Anybody like, oh, MJF deserves a shot before Adam Cole? On what planet? How many times does MJF wrestle on a yearly basis? 2, 3 times a year, maybe 4? Adam Cole has wrestled almost every single week he has been in AEW. Don't give me this, oh, Adam Cole doesn't deserve to be the an AEW World title shot. Adam Cole versus Adam Hangman Page. Apparently, these guys have history together. Major history. So, you can play into that. But that, after this Wednesday, that is what we build to. We got a month. After next week, I believe we have a little under a month. Yeah, I think, Revolution is on March 5th or 6th, right? So, we have 4 weeks or 3 weeks to get Adam Cole versus Adam Hangman Page. MJF is not even in the top 5. CM Punk wasn't even in the top 5. There was literally no reason to give us MJF versus Hangman Adam Page. The dude needs to win a couple more matches or have a couple more matches. Yes, he should be your next AEW World Champion, but there's enough time between now and Double or Nothing for MJF to go out there and win a match or two and have that winning streak move up. I mean, yes, he is like, what, 2-1 this year or 1-1? Yeah, there's no reason that MJF should be the next guy to get a world title shot. No, just no. Adam Cole, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Sammy Guevara versus Isaiah Cassidy. For whatever reason, he's still wearing the 2 belts, even though the championship unification match was, last week? Why is he still coming out here? Well, of course, Sammy Guevara had a ladder match and decided to take a dive off a ladder onto Cody, and that hurt. And he did that killer cutter off the top rope. So he came out, but when he took the belts off, he was taped. His midsection was covered in tape. So basically, wearing both belts was a way for him to hide the tape. So it would be a way to not have a disadvantage or give Isaiah Cassidy a targeting until he got into the ring. So the match starts, and of course Matt Hardy's out there with Isaiah Cassidy. There's nobody there for Sammy Guevara because the Inner Circle has their own problems other ways. So having the match, Guevara fires up and he and Cassidy trade punches, backflip into the dropkick by Guevara, sends Cassidy to the outside. Guevara follows him out with his twisting dive over the top rope. We go to commercial break, and during the commercial break, Matt Hardy hit the side effect on Sammy Guevara on the apron. So, obviously, the apron's one of the hardest parts of the ring. They let you know that every fucking time something like that happens. But it definitely had to fucking hurt. And they made you know that, yeah, it definitely hurt. Now, Sammy Guevara is getting the upper hand when all of a sudden, Andrade's music hits. And he comes out, distracting Sammy Guevara. Of course, Cassidy tries to take advantage, but gets a near fall on Guevara. Guevara rolls to the ring apron. Cassidy tries to grab him, but Cassidy drops his neck over the top rope and follows with a dive to Guevara on the outside. Cassidy rolls Guevara back in the ring and hits a swanton from the top for a near fall. Cassidy tries to twist of 8. Guevara reverses into a backslide for a 2. He drives Cassidy into the corner, hits a springboard moonsault. Quinn on the outside and springboard back into them with a cutter to Cassidy for a near fall. Guevara follows up with the GTH for the pin and the win. And Sammy Guevara picks up the win. Okay, so since Andrade joined the HFO, the HFO has lost every single match. Obviously, Andrade does not want to be held around losers. So I don't see this AHFO being a long-term deal. It's going to lead to something, maybe Matt Hardy and the HFO breaking off. Matt Hardy, and when Jeff comes in next month, Jeff and Matt team up. Andrade gets a partner, not Malachi Black, because Malachi's got his Kings of the Black Throne. And we see what happens there. Now, after the match, Andrade, Jose, and Andrade step into the corner. Hold on, that's not what I wanted. What up? Andrade, Jose, and Matt step into the ring. After the match, Jericho stands up to possibly come down to his aid. But here comes Darby Allin. He runs to the ring. Everybody from the AHFO backs off. Sammy turns the cat, and they turn to each other. And Darby is just staring down at one of the TNT championships. He looks back up, taps both of them, gives them the ring, goes into the corner and does his little celebration, and that was that. So maybe, just maybe, at Revolution, it will be Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. That would be a damn good match. Obviously, Darby Allin is, I think, he is the longest reigning TNT champion. If not, it's either him or Miro. I'm pretty sure it's Darby Allin. But yeah, I would not mind having these guys have a match. Do I think Darby Allin needs to have the TNT Championship and beat Sammy Guevara? Not really. So, that's where we stand there. Backstage, we get a pre-recorded comments from QT Marshall. He talks about Hook, and Marshall says he has one of his prize students who he does not name. He says they will face Hook next week, and Hook will finally get what's coming to him. Back from break, and Tony Schiavone with Chris Statlander don't give a shit. She gets beat up by Layla Hirsch. Moving on. We have... Oh, man, I missed something here because my notes just got messed up. But we have the main event. Oh, wait, no, we don't. Oh, yeah, we do have the main event. I skipped the women's match. Like I said, Mercedes Martinez lost by DQ, and obviously it's leading to because it came to light that the women's champion was the one to hire Mercedes Martinez. Who didn't see that coming? We know where that's going to. Hopefully we get a legit, good, an actual competent women's champion coming out of Evolution. And the biggest reason, here's the thing. The biggest reason why the title change is going to happen at Revolution is because we have the Owen Hart Cup coming up in May. The Owen Hart Cup should be starting up probably after Revolution and going all the way into May. You have a men's tournament and a women's tournament. Honestly, and WWE figured this out with the Dusty Road Tag Team Classic, both tournaments should not be going on at the same time. And AEW's really got to redeem themselves for this last shitty tournament they did for the TBS Championship because that thing was shit. From the fact that it was like, here's 12 women, the top 4 get a bye, everyone else has to wrestle an extra match. That was shit. The finish was shit. The semifinals with Jade and fucking Thunder Rosa was shit. They have to make up and have a better tournament for the women. So I'm pretty sure Rosa, Martinez, Baker, Chris Statlander, and all these other, like all the prominent women are probably going to be in this tournament. Because everybody's going to want to be in because this is the Owen Hart Cup for the women. Same thing with the men. I don't expect, other than the World Championship, which the World Championship probably the only title that really matters at that time. Maybe the tag team titles too. I could see a lot of the young up-and-coming guys on the men's side. And the reason you say most of the prominent women is because the women's division in AEW is still lacking. Maybe you could get Athena in here. Maybe you can get Toni Storm in here for that. But the men's side is not really lacking. You could have a Sammy, a Darby, a Jungle Boy, Hook, if you wanted to. If it was me, Hook was winning the damn thing. Just saying. But I don't have creative control. But we could see talent like a Keith Lee show up in this. A Killer Cross. Anybody else. Jeff Hardy could be in this. Matt Hardy can be in this. Matt and Jeff should be in this because, if I'm correct, they knew Owen Hart. They should have spots in this. Jay Lethal could be in it. Ricky Stokes could be in it. Powerhouse Hobbs could be in it. We don't know anything, and they don't like the fact that they didn't give us an idea of what this is going to be. But they're probably going to wait till after Revolution to let us know the format, who's in it, how long it's going to be, because we know it's going to go to Double or Nothing, and the finals are both going to be at Double or Nothing. Honestly, I would have the women or one of the tournaments first. If it's like a 16-man tournament, have that 16-man tournament be all of March and the beginning of April. And the women's, same thing, all of April in the May, and then at Double or Nothing, you could have your finals. It doesn't matter who's the finalist, and it doesn't matter like the men's or the women's, whichever one is first. Semifinals and finals are so far apart. There's no reason to have two tournaments going on at the same time. It's going to be a fucking mess. Especially when AEW decides that they don't want to book more than one women's match at a time on TV, and they don't really have time to. They don't have enough women. So we had our main event, Jay Lethal versus Ricky Starks. This was for the FTW Championship. Obviously, this is all coming from pretty much Dante Martin was trying to be recruited by Team Taz when he was working with Leo Rush. Then Leo Rush disappeared after Dante Martin turned on Team Taz in the Battle Royal. Got to the next week, and Leo Rush just disappeared. We didn't see Leo Rush again. The whole controversy happened at the end of the year. That's neither here nor there. And then they seem to put Dante Martin back with Lee Moriarty and Matt Sydal. But they replaced Lio Rush with Jay Lethal. And Jay Lethal wants to take the championship away from Team Taz. He grew up in the era of when this, and I didn't know this. This boggled my mind. The fact that Jay Lethal is only like 2 or 3 years older than me. I looked at like his age and I'm like, what? But this guy was on Impact Wrestling back in 2005. 2006, one of those 2 years. You mean he was like 18, 19, 20 years old back then? What? I could have swore Jay Lethal back in those days, back in that day, was like 25, maybe 26. No, the guy was only a few years older than me. That really blew my mind. But yes, this match is happening because Jay Lethal knows the significance of the FTW title to Team Taz and knows that if he takes that title away from Team Taz, it'll crush them. It will crush Team Taz and Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. Could he get the job done? Obviously not. Ricky Starks was winning this match. There's no reason why. Honestly, I wish they would just get rid of the FTW title. I know Taz is there, but Taz worked in WWE and Taz worked in TNA. They never brought the FTW title around because it wasn't necessary. You have the TNT title, you have the AEW World title, and you had the tag titles, and possibly the trios titles by the end of this year. You don't need the FTW title anymore. Now, when they brought the FTW title out, the TNT title was barely new. So you wanted to have something there for a guy like Brian Cage, who they wanted to give him a championship, even though whatever fucking reason they decided to give him that championship a week before he was to go for the AEW World title is beyond me. That made absolutely no sense. It made no sense. But anyway, back to the match. So, the biggest thing that going into this match is known is that nobody's kicked out of the lethal injection. And how are we going to get past that? And how is Ricky Starks going to avoid losing the lethal injection? Well, the way it ended, it was pretty fucking fantastic, I honestly think. So they're having the match here. Lethal, it's going back and forth. Of course, Powerhouse Hobbs is on the outside. Nobody for Jay Lethal. Powerhouse Hobbs, of course, tries to get involved. Dante Martin actually comes in and comes out of nowhere and just hits the springboard crossbody to Hobbs on the outside. Lethal gets back up. He misses lethal injection. Another attempt. And this was awesome. Ricky Starks gets in position. And as Jay Lethal's coming back to do the cutter, he gets caught and put into the Rochambeau for the 1, 2, 3. A damn good reversal. Something that if you're playing THQ's WWE games from SmackDown vs. Raw 2005 or 6 or whatever it was to WWE 13, where you have those finisher reversals, this looked like it came out of one of those finisher reversals. Like, he's going for the cutter and he gets just caught and slammed down with the Rochambeau. I just thought that was fantastic. Starks and Hobbs are celebrating on the outside. Martin comes in to check on Lethal, and that was how the show wrapped up. Pretty good show right here. Don't really care about the women's division as long as the championships are held by trash. And, yeah, we're heading toward an AEW. Looks like we got what is going to be a championship match going into Revolution. Some people were saying it was going to be MJF. Nah, it's too early. MJF got to get in the top 5 before he can even get a championship match, in my opinion. Adam Cole's been number 1 and undefeated in singles action. A keyword, singles action. The action that matters for the World Championship. Yes, he's been on the losing side of triple threat. Not triple threat. 6-man tags and stuff like that. But he hasn't lost. He hasn't been pinned or submitted in a match that isn't unsanctioned. So Adam Cole, Adam Hangman Page, take my money. I can't wait to see that at Revolution. Moving over to SmackDown. Well, SmackDown. We see what happened between Brock Lesnar winning the Royal Rumble match and what happened with Roman Reigns at the pay-per-view. We come to the ring. Here comes the Bloodline with Mr. Paul Heyman. They all stop at the entrance, march to the ring, all that stuff. The Bloodline enters the ring, powers go off. Reigns takes the mic to mostly boos. Heyman speaks first and says he's here tonight to serve as special counsel to the tribal chief. He goes on with his grand introduction and says they came here to acknowledge what really happened. There was no plot or conspiracy. This was not done to make Brock Lesnar look foolish, but he does look like a damn fool anyway. This was history unfolding before our very eyes. He admits he made the biggest mistake of his career several weeks ago back in Chicago, when he told the greatest champion in WWE history, that's a stretch, that he needed to be protected from Brock Lesnar. He got fired, hit with a Superman punch for it, and he acknowledged he got everything he deserved. But he saw an opportunity. When Roman Reigns couldn't make day one, so he got Lesnar into the WWE title match and became WWE champion, which he said that only him and Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns could do only what Brock Lesnar did at day one was only feasible by Brock or Roman Reigns. No. That's a little stretch too. But they were going to be on separate brands. Everything was going to be fine. And how stupid was Lesnar going for Reigns? Coming to SmackDown on his first night, his first week of winning the WWE Championship and asking for a title versus title match. He looks like a schmuck. He acts like one. He knew he screwed up with the tribal chief and was stuck with a happy Saskatchewan farmer who just wanted to suplex everyone, and that's what he got. That's what we got at the Royal Rumble, and he took Bobby Lashley to Suplex City. But when Reigns showed up and proved a goat can always slay a beast, says Reigns came to him offering a hand of forgiveness, the hand of love, the hand of the family and the bloodline, the hand of acknowledgement, and Heyman handed Reigns the WWE title. He smashed Lesnar in the face with it, and because of that, Lashley pinned Lesnar and became WWE Champion. Now, everyone has acknowledged that there will not be a title versus title match at WrestleMania because Lesnar doesn't get what he wants, but he will do what Reigns wants to do, and at WrestleMania 38, he will acknowledge Roman Reigns. And he says, this is how it's done. He turns to him with the mic, head down, and says, Roman Reigns, I, Paul Heyman, acknowledge you as my tribal chief. This is an Oklahoma City chance to show history. Calls for the city to acknowledge Reigns as tribal chief as the fans boo, and out comes Oldberg. Yep, that's right. So, here's my thing. Yes, Oldberg comes out, and he says, you meet at the Elimination Chamber, and that match is going to happen. And that is that. So, here's my thing. We had this match at the pay-per-view, at the Royal Rumble, between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins won that match by disqualification. So Seth Rollins is in the Elimination Chamber because of this. Why did you have the match go off and end the way it did if you weren't going to do a rematch at the Elimination Chamber? I don't understand this. Why would you have first off, why would you have Charles Robinson look like the biggest fucking idiot on that night, pulling up Seth Rollins' hand to just pretty much let it fall, to pull it up and then drag it over so he grabbed the rope. All you had to do, you could have still got what you got in that end with the chair and all of that. All you had to do was when Charles Robinson put his hand up, his hand slunk back down. He rings the bell. Roman wins the match. Roman Reigns is still the Universal Champion. He's not going to let it go. He eventually does. He eventually grabs the chair and does the same exact thing that he was going to do. If you weren't going to go with Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns and you were going to go with Oldberg, why did you do what you did at the Royal Rumble? Why did you book the end of the Royal Rumble Universal title match at the Royal Rumble like that? It doesn't make any fucking sense now, and it doesn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense then. So yeah, that is what we get. And anybody chanting Goldberg's name in 2022, fuck you. It's you or why we see this old fart come back and take spots from other talent and why Vince McMahon still relies on talent like Goldberg, like Stone Cold, like Undertaker, because you continue to say this is okay. You continue to approve this garbage. Fuck Goldberg. This better be the last time anybody sees him in a WWE ring in a prominent world title match. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Fuck this bullshit. So, moving on. Ridge Holland takes on Ricochet. So, at day one, as we know on the kickoff show, Ridge Holland got his nose broken by Ricochet, and Sheamus beat 2 men by himself. Not a good look for WWE. So, they make their entrances, they come out and everything, and the match lasted literally 95 seconds. Sheamus and Cesaro have words together. The ref counts, but Rollins brings Sheamus back in. Ricochet back in. Ricochet takes advantage of the distraction on the ring side, dropping Holland from the ropes to pin and win. Ricochet beat Ridge Holland in 90 seconds. Oh, you know what? I know a good idea how to get somebody over. I know how to make somebody a big megastar. How about we have him lose in 90 seconds to a jobber, to somebody who's been losing? I love Ricochet, and I think he should be doing a lot more, and I think he should leave WWE. I've seen Ricochet on the indie scene, and I know what he can do. The fact that they fucking buried this guy 6 feet under, only for him to go out of his way to beat Ridge Holland in 95 seconds. Then, lo and behold, we go to commercial break, we come back. What do you think's gonna happen? We're gonna get a tag team match, player. Cesaro and Ricochet versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Guess what? This match lasted 2 minutes. Holland grabs Cesaro, drops him with a Northern Grit, and gets the pin and the win. 50-50 booking in less than 5 minutes. Who gets over with this? Doesn't help Ridge Holland. It doesn't help Ricochet. It doesn't help Sheamus. It doesn't help Cesaro. Nobody benefits from this. So why do they continue to book like this? Ridge Holland doesn't look like a badass because he got foolishly beaten in 90 seconds, only to come back and win with a 2-minute match 2 minutes later, after, of course, a break. So, in a matter of about 3.5 to 4 minutes, we got ourselves this. Nobody looks better. Nobody gets over. The crowd doesn't care. And that is that. Let's continue on with another short match as Jimmy Uso takes on Eric of the Viking Raiders. You know how to promote a tag team match at a shitty Blood Money run Elimination Chamber? A tag team match on that for the titles. Let's have 2 of the individuals have a single match. Let's have it last 2 minutes. Why? Uso splash, Jimmy gets the win. Why? Why is this even a thing? How are you gonna get somebody who doesn't want to watch this show because it's in Saudi Arabia, and I don't believe that anybody should actually pay attention to that shit. How do you get someone like me to watch that show? To get me invested in that show? I know, let's have Jimmy Uso beat Eric in less than 2 minutes in a match that didn't mean shit. Nope, doesn't work for me. And then we see after this is over, we get this recent happens between Natalya and Aaliyah. And here we go again. Another 2-minute match. Funny how the main event match of the night was the longest match of the entire show. And it was a tag team match between the New Days and Los Lotharios. Everything else was like 2 minutes at the most. Aaliyah wins by countout. What is this doing for Aaliyah? How is this getting her over? You know, when Aaliyah got that pinfall in that 6-woman tag match right before Survivor Series last year, and the crowd popped, it felt like a big deal because it's like, wow, they actually let a newbie win. They actually got this woman, they might do something with her. Since she's come back from whatever they were not doing with her, she's beaten Natalya by 3 seconds, by disqualification. I'm sorry, 3.17 seconds because we have to do Aaliyah 3:17 on her t-shirt. Disqualification and countouts. And if you noticed, outside of that 3-second one, because that's a surprise win, nobody cared about the DQ and nobody cared about this win. This isn't getting Aaliyah over. So when Aaliyah goes back and Vince McMahon sees that the crowd doesn't give a shit and whatever little push they were giving her disappears, it's not her fault. It's definitely not her fault. So we go to the ring and Drew McIntyre comes out with a sword. We see how happy Baron Corbin and Madcap Moss injured him at day 1, which it's very surprising that Drew McIntyre is back after that. He's had major neck injuries apparently and could have easily been out for the remainder of the year. The fact that he was able to get to the Royal Rumble was absolutely shocking. I'm glad to see him back, the dedication he did to get back into the ring. Awesome. He talks about some of the headlines about how he was going to be out for a long time or he wouldn't be back at all. He says a doctor told him after day 1 that he definitely wouldn't make the Royal Rumble and probably not even WrestleMania. He looked that doctor in the eye, told him to kiss his ass, immediately began rehab 3 times a day, and got back as soon as he could. He says the Rumble didn't go as planned, but he and Brock Lesnar are now 1-1, and we'll revisit that later. But Madcap Moss and Corbin, the outcomes, the happy folks. Corbin asked outcomes Baron Corbin. No Madcap Moss to be seen. You want to know why? Predictable garbage. Even Drew McIntyre knew it was predictable because as he's being distracted, here comes Madcap Moss, but Drew points his sword and is like, nobody saw that coming. So he's like, I want you to tell me a joke. Don't you come in here, Drew. Don't you come in here, Corbin, or I'm going to draw blood. Ooh, getting a little dark here. So he tells his shitty joke. Drew McIntyre claimed was him and says he's going to make Baron Corbin's life a living hell. And that was the segment. And apparently at the Elimination Chamber, it's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss, which makes no fucking sense. Shouldn't it be Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin? Or are we going to have Drew McIntyre face Baron Corbin at WrestleMania? That's the best you could do for Drew McIntyre? Holy shit. Just holy shit. That's terrible. Cole shows us Johnny Knoxville stuff with Sami Zayn, and back in Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce's office, Sami Zayn, of course, is furious about they just yet that and he's mad because he's been number 1 contender since December 25th and has yet to get his title shot. Pearce is like, how about next week? He's like, I got shocked last week. How about 2 weeks from now? He's like, fine, we can do that. So February 18th, which will be a double taping for them. Actually, no. Next week is a double taping. Next week on the 11th, WWE is going to do the smart thing, and they're going to tape 2 episodes of SmackDown. The 11th will be live, and then the 18th will be taped. Why? Because the next day they're going to be in Saudi Arabia. Which means talent can leave on the 17th, or early in the day on the 18th. They don't have to go to SmackDown for SmackDown talent, and then go to Saudi Arabia and be getting in there at all hours of the night. So they can leave. They're probably going to leave Thursday and be able to get there on Friday. Well, Friday over there, they'll already be there, but Friday our time. In comes Natalya. She wants to face Aaliyah in a dungeon-style match next week. Won by pinfall submission. Deville agrees, and the match is made. Championship contenders match, Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jinder Mahal. This match again went 2 minutes. Kinshasa for the 1, 2, 3. I ain't kidding. These matches didn't do shit. It was match starts, match is over. Match starts, you looked away, match was over. You went to the bathroom, you was like, oh, I don't want to see this match. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom, match was over before you got back. That's the gist of SmackDown tonight. Men and women. We see what happened with Oldberg and them. Don't give a shit. We see a progressive sponsored replay that shows us happening between Naomi and Sonya Deville, including the Rumble. Deville's backstage with Adam Pearce. When Naomi walks in, she wants Deville to meet her in the ring in 5 minutes to fight Deville. Deville is busy and makes up some bullshit excuse. Naomi tells her to do it next week. Deville says Naomi already has a match next week against Charlotte at 9000 for the women's title. Naomi doesn't believe that, of course. Pierce says, you know what? You don't have to take her word for it, but you can take mine. That match is official next week. But yet, Adam Pierce still fails to say, but in Sonya, if you get involved, then Charlotte will win, then Naomi wins the championship. They have yet to do that, and that's something they need to add, so Sonya Deville stays out of her business and makes it a one-on-one match. Because you know she's going to get involved with it next week. Spear versus Spear, Icon versus Icon, Generation versus Generation match. Don't fucking care. Main event match, The New Day versus Los Lothorios. Again, this was the longest match in the show. Xavier Woods is still recovering from injury. Apparently, he's off the inactive list, so he'll probably be back very, very soon. Before we get to that, Natalya is being asked about what a dungeon-style match is, and will you care to elaborate? She's like, I'm not going to wait to tell Aaliyah. I'll tell her now. With a smile on her face, she walks to the women's locker room, opens the door, out comes Xia Li. Natalya backs off and is like, next week. Next week. Has Xia Li even had a match? What is Xia Li doing? They haven't done anything with her. Has she even had a match? I don't think she's had a match at all. So, that was that for that, and then we go to the match. It was the New Day versus Los Lothorios. Now, as has been noted, Big E's back on SmackDown. His singles push is dead. It's now a three-man group again once Xavier Woods comes back. Until then, we have the usual tag team of the New Day of Big E and Kofi Kingston. They win with the Midnight Hour after having a pretty decently good match with the Los Lothorios. My question is, why couldn't you put the Los Lothorios over? Did Big E and Xavier Woods Kofi Kingston need to win here? No, they did not. They can't go for the tag team titles unless they want to try and pull that card of, oh, well, that agreement was for the New Day with Xavier and Kofi, but Big E is not. No. Los Lothorios could have used a win. Big win against the New Day would have been great. But no, of course, Big E and Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston had to win. We come to the main event spot itself, but not the main event. The main event segment, even though the main event match, of course, was the Big E and Los Lothorios match. New Day and Los Lothorios. And here comes the Showbot 9000. She comes out. We go to commercial break. We come back. Sonya Deville gets on the mic because she's out there too and says, okay, so I got a call from Becky. And Becky tells me that Ronda Rousey has picked her for a championship match. So after you beat Naomi next week, you're going to need a match at WrestleMania. And the Showbot gets on the mic and pretty much says, I will pick Sasha Banks because Mother versus Mother would be better for Ronda because Ronda would be too scared of me. And Sasha, I will have a contract with you next week. Out comes Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey, pretty much, she did what we thought she was going to do. She picked Charlotte, told her she'll see her at WrestleMania, and she's going to show her daughter what the family business is, and that is kicking ass, not whining and complaining. So, Deville gets in between these two after Charlotte takes the title and says, this is my baby, and it's a lot prettier than yours. So Ronda's going to fuck her up. Sonya gets in her way and says, listen, I'm the boss. I make the rules. I tell you what to do. You don't do what you want to. She shoves Sonya Deville to the side, sidesteps Charlotte, and then Sonya makes the foolish mistake to get on and go for a rear naked choke on Ronda Rousey, who turns it and hits a Piper's Pit, and then applies her shitty-looking armbar. And Sonya Deville taps out, of course. She eventually lets go as her and Charlotte stare down. Now, I understand why they can't have Ronda Rousey do an actual armbar because she'll probably break somebody's arm. But please shoot it differently. Having her just have their elbow, them in a, their arm in an L position, and just pulling it back, doesn't look like it even hurts that much. It doesn't look like it really hurts that much. It looks phony as shit. Now, I'm sure if she put it on me, she'd probably break my arm, but I'm just saying, it looks phony as shit. This match was obvious from the moment those two had their little face-off in the Royal Rumble. So, it will be Ronda versus Charlotte, Brock versus Roman, title versus title, hopefully, which, according to reports, Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar, and many, many other writers are pushing for title versus title. It makes sense. It's the only route to go if they determined to finish the brand split that needs to die. You have fired way too many people for there even to be a brand split. Fuck whatever Fox and USA say. There's not enough people on these rosters, and you can't bring up half of NXT to fill those rosters to be able to justify a brand split. When they did the brand split in 2016, it made sense because they had a lot of talent. They don't have that much talent. They fired over almost 200 people since 2020. And I'm sure when WrestleMania season's over, they're going to fire more. That is your SmackDown and Rampage review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds at the France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/the France Club. And find me on Instagram at the France Club. And I will see you guys on Monday for Raw. Until then, my name is the France, and I'll see you guys later.